Good evening. I'm the Maven of the Eventide. Welcome back to another Vampire the Masquerade Coteries of New York vampire playthrough.
New game load settings credits Vampire Shadows New York by now.
With me tonight is the incredible...
Not Maven of the Eventide. I'm Paul. Hi.
You should have a fancy title like I do.
No, I gave that up years ago.
No, if I'm the Maven of the Eventide, which means like Mistress of Darkness, what would you be?
What's like a really cool term for like... No, that's not quite fair. I don't want to say like crotchety because I'm medicated now and I feel better.
Get therapy.
Yeah, what's... I don't know. I'll have to think about that one. But I'm sure that the comments have come up with some very colorful ones.
Yeah,
for
you
me.
guys, that's your job. You give us titles for Paul. What's his spooky vampire title?
I'm not going to read them. I'm scared.
Speaking of the comments, we did a poll, right? We did an emoji poll, since we didn't do a real poll.
I still can't believe those are not in cards anymore. That's
right?
Ridiculous. So
we asked people to let us know if they wanted, which one of these things they wanted us to go to next. And overwhelmingly, the winner of the poll was our Tremere friend.
Okay.
I think only one person voted here and 0 people voted here.
Aww.
Basically, apparently it's a very
That was like the only
question.
storyline. I was like kind of semi-curious about, since it was kind of like a side story, you know?
Yeah, but everyone says it's
Private
disappointing.
investigators. Okay.
So yeah, we are going through the Ventrue, night 16. This is part 12 of this Let's Play, and someone has advised us that we might finish the game tonight. Tonight. The first thing we're about to do is going to be kind of extraneous because none of these 3 things will factor into our end game, because these are the coteries we could have pursued but didn't. But we got to do something, apparently, to fill up the other half of the night.
Seems like a kind of a game flaw that they would just
what we should have done at the beginning was gone to all 4, then decided which one we wanted to focus on. So we're doing it way out of order.
I see.
Yeah,
all right.
Things got
that makes
bumped
more
up.
sense.
Yeah. That was our fault because we were trying to like metagame too much.
Well, I don't know. At least we got, we made sure we got through all the main stories that we wanted to see, and now this is just bonus content.
Bonus content. But I've been told that if we want to play the sequel game, which we do, Shadows of New York.
Oh, I saw this one
we
called...
will be...
there was one that just popped up on Steam. It was like, you're a vampire courier or something. Because all the who makes this game, White Wolf games type of things are all on sale, like as a bundle, and that was in there. So that one looked interesting.
To play Shadows of New York, you will be lost and confused if you haven't completed these 2 story arcs.
I'm lost and confused now.
So if we really want to play Shadows of New York properly, we will have to play through this game a second time and choose these 2 for our coteries and do those whole story arcs, just to get the full gameplay experience.
Okay.
We don't have to record it and make videos out of it. We could just do it on our own time.
I'm just seeing the word experience in very large air quotes.
Like Sophie says, experience.
You have to get the full experience.
All right. So because the people have spoken, we are going to visit this character, which we have not seen before.
His portrait looks a lot different close up. It looks a lot cooler when it was like in black and red. Click off of it again. Yeah, he looks so much cooler because it looks like he has this giant afro.
Oh, no.
I'm disappointed.
No, he's like Eastern European or something.
No, now I don't want to talk to him anymore.
It's a kind of magic. Sophie's mention of a vampire clan of blood sorcerers sparked your attention. One of them, Agathon, could potentially be your introduction into the bizarre powers of the Tremere.
No, I'm legitimately upset and let down that this guy does not have the big afro that I've been looking at for the last 12 episodes. I mean, click off of him again. You can see it,
I never saw it that way.
Look! Because it just looks like this whole black circle is just like hair.
No, but I saw like hair coming down here.
No, I don't see that. All I can see is black and red. Maybe it's the angle that I'm...
Maybe, but like, look, you click on this guy now looks like he has an afro.
No, it doesn't.
Like, doesn't this black look like hair all the way around his head now?
No, I think it's just the way that his is angled and stuff. I'm sorry. I can't be a part of this game anymore.
Oh, bye.
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 This is me leaving.
You arrive at the address given to you by Sophie, a small bookstore smack dab in the middle of Broadway of all places.
I'm also very upset that you would not care if I left.
I'm calling your bluff, fool. What really catches you off guard, though, is the store's display. From what you've heard about the Tremere, they are infamous for their ties to the occult and the mystical. And yet, now, looking at the oddball collection of items in the display window, it all feels borderline satirical. The books here cover everything from Ayurvedic practices and homeopathy to wellness and self-motivation. The vaguely amusing juxtapositions don't end there either. You notice a copy of Anton LaVey's Satanic Bible tucked behind a cheap, smiling Buddha.
I thought that was Salman Rushdie. Or was that Satanic Verses?
Yes.
Okay.
A scientific journal on hematology sits next to a teen-oriented pamphlet on the blood type personality theory. If I have a problem with this, am I just that much of a snob? Well, I guess I'm a Ventru.
What do you mean? Oh, I thought you meant like you personally.
No, my character is clearly like, what's this juxtaposition? They've got crap here and mysterious stuff.
That's like big thing in like Japan, isn't it? Like if you're an A or B type, like this really affects your personality. Kind of like the horoscope here.
I guess so. And I'm just like, why am I judging them so hard? Like, oh, I thought you were going to be real sorcerers, but you're into like crystals? Ugh.
Homeopathy.
What do I know? A number of religious and quasi-religious symbols, lockets, pins, and various emblemized paraphernalia are haphazardly strewn across the display and between the tomes. Before you even open the door, you can smell the burning incense and hear the corny Far East-tinged music seeping through the crackling speaker mounted above the entrance.
I've been like 50 shops exactly like this. I have
Why am I so like racist against Far East music?
Well, no, I mean, like when you enter, it's like hearing that, like the music that plays whenever you go to like a massage parlor. It's always that.
Well,
same
yeah, if it's owned by white people, it's corny. But how do I know this isn't owned by East Asian people and therefore it is just their own music?
It could still be really corny.
I don't know. This sounds kind of racist to me.
Okay, I understand. But
that guy did not look Asian to me, so maybe he is appropriating that music.
Where's his afro?
He should be playing Enya. It's much more quaint than what you expected from what Sophie told you about these so-called warlocks.
Dang.
It doesn't look like they have much interest in impressing outsiders.
Gwen True the bitch true.
Maybe they're trying to play the masquerade? Like, have you thought of that? Like, maybe this is...
Maybe they're the smart ones.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, which ones were the, like, completely insane ones again? I know it's not the Tremere, it was the other one.
Malkavians, the one that did the whole fake web show thing.
Oh, right. The biker gang stuff. She wasn't like, I don't know, maybe the only thing I know about Malkavians is from Bloodlines, and I know they were just completely off their rockers.
Well,
But
do
like
you
this
remember
one seemed
in
like
our last video, we moderated her chat channel for her web show, and it turned out she wasn't even broadcasting to anything. It was all fake.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Point made.
Yeah. Then again, if there's anything you've learned these past few nights, it's that appearances can be deceiving. You think? I guess if this is supposed to be very early in the game that we did this, maybe this wouldn't seem so like weird to us.
Yeah, because every time we start a mission, it's like, you've only been a vampire for a few days. And it's like, this has been like a month.
I think we were supposed to do this quest way earlier, and that's why this is feeling weird to us. I'm not going to fault the game for this.
No.
At this time of night, the shop appears to be closed. Regardless, you ring the bell.
Oh,
You hear someone shuffling around inside. A brief moment later, the latch slides and the door is pushed open just a few inches. A tired-looking blonde in loose clothes appears in the crack. She seems confused, like you just woke her up. She lets out a yawn, scratching at her tattooed neck. Finally, she squints in your general direction. Her pierced lip curves into an awkward smile. I'm just gonna be direct. I'm looking for a guy named Agathon. Is he around? The girl gives you a suspicious look over, but opens the door. She takes a few steps back, and you hear footsteps coming from behind a floral curtain that covers the back door. Oh, not a bead curtain? A bespectacled, smart-looking woman emerges and looks straight at you. Come in and follow me. Just don't touch anything, please.
Nice.
You follow her through the store. Inside, as expected, the stuffy air smells of sandalwood, frankincense, and a dozen other aromas.
Such as myrrh.
The woman leads you behind the curtain and through the back door into a rickety staircase. A flight of steps takes you up to the second story. You instantly notice the change in decor, as the tacky New Age bookstore gives way to something resembling a cross between a library and a workshop. What kind of workshop? I don't see anything like...
It looks very voodoo-ish.
I guess so. I like these dust boats over
It's
here.
very, very Gabriel Knight in here.
The smell here is strong too, but much more layered. You're not sure what to make of it at first, but with each whiff it becomes apparent. Blood. The aroma, though subtle at first, soon becomes overpowering. It takes you a moment to adapt and focus. Her name is Aisling Sturbridge.
I like it.
I don't think you know who you're speaking with, so an introduction is in order. My name is Aisling Sturbridge, and I am High Regent of the Chantry of the Five Boroughs.
Regent. No.
Every chantry has a regent. The regent is responsible for the tutelage of all other Tremere in the domain. While the regent may not teach them personally, she must ensure all Tremere are being educated. The regent's other duties extend to the clan's protection in the domain and sometimes its representation on the Primogene Council.
Chantry. Noun.
A traditional name for the Tremere headquarters in a city, usually part shelter, part library, and part laboratory.
So why did the Tremere are the only ones that had like this big infrastructure set up, evidently?
I'm sure Ventrue have infrastructure set up.
Well, I guess so. Yeah, they do love their spreadsheets and infrastructure.
You are Gwen, correct? I have to say, you're lucky the ward outside the building is only there for notifications tonight. Otherwise, it would have been quite unpleasant. To answer your question, Agathon is here, but he's hard at work, and I wouldn't want to disturb him. Am I to understand this is a social visit? I'm not fucking Agathon, okay?
I don't actually remember the purpose of our visit at all.
We're just, like, courting coteries, you know?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
As if we were back at the beginning of the game. Wait, how do you know who I am?
Well, for one thing, knowing who's who in the city is one of my duties as High Regent. But more importantly, you've been on the mind of many kindred since Langley took you in. It's quite a precedent, as I'm sure you know. First under Prince Panard, and for Sophie to be the one to do it, curiouser and curiouser. Still, I'm sure you haven't come here to look for dirt on your sire? That would be unwise.
Sophie suggested I should meet Agathon. She said he's quite knowledgeable. Actually, she said it more like he's quite knowledgeable.
Yes, in her very Sophie hand gesturing
Yeah.
quotes
I mean,
way.
if you know Sophie, you know Sophie,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, you know.
Did she now?
Aisling looks you up and down. Her countenance seems unchanged, but you can tell she's judging what you said.
That's new.
Suddenly, a man enters from a side room. He doesn't even look at you, lost in his own thoughts.
I have it, Aisling. I think I know how to find it.
He catches himself as he notices you. His face turns sour.
A visitor?
Yes, we were just discussing you, in fact.
Is that so?
Yes, Sophie Langley recommended that I contact you about teaming up. Or as she put it, teaming up.
Teaming up.
He seems very confused by the notion.
What for?
Company. Well, I'm a manipulator, so I'm gonna play this angle. I could assist you in your work. I can be quite helpful, knowing I can count on someone to return the favor.
Is that right?
He seems to consider it, then turns to Aisling.
High Regent, may I ask your advice on this?
She looks you over, as if judging your worth. It takes her just long enough to make you feel uncomfortable. When she takes her eyes off you, she addresses Agathon.
Do you feel like you need assistance in your task, my child?
I am confident I can do it on my own.
He pauses, hesitating for a second.
But I do believe it is important enough to warrant outside help, even if only for a single night.
Another brief moment of hesitation.
Of course, the details would remain between you and I, sire.
Agreed, on all points. Why don't you start by giving our intern here a brief explanation of what it is you're after?
Agathon gives Aisling a hesitant look, but the woman nods approvingly. Encouraged, he turns toward you.
A member of our clan disappeared without a trace a handful of nights ago.
Oh, another mystery.
While the High Regent investigates if any foul play was involved, I have been tasked with recovering her research notes. If there is anything left to recover, that is. I may have an idea where to start looking, and I suppose this is where you come in. If you truly wish to help, I could use your assistance tonight, right now. In fact, given the time we've just wasted on idle chatter, I should leave immediately.
That research sounds pretty important. What's it about? A single glance at Aisling is enough. You can tell you're not getting an answer, at least for now.
It is important to us, and that's all you need to know.
These people aren't in the habit of making things simple. Facing layers upon layers of secrecy, you can only hope that what lies beneath is the real deal.
I'm heading out. You coming or not?
Sure, I'll join you.
Very well.
Gives Aisling a slight bow. Oh, he's pretentious.
High Regent, with your permission?
She nods.
Before you go, however, Gwen, defer to Agathon in all things. Our clan values obedience above everything else. Prove that you can follow, and this might turn into a mutually beneficial relationship. I will await his return and his report. Good luck, my child. Agathon bows again and heads out, urging you to follow. The High Regent watches you leave. Outside, Agathon leads you to his car. It's almost funny seeing him get behind the wheel. Somehow you'd expect a more mystical means of transportation.
Why do so many people drive in this game? It's like nobody we know in New York has a car.
This was made by Polish people. They don't know how New York City works.
Okay.
Yeah. Except Tamika, she walks everywhere because she's feral like the wolf.
Agathon, eyes on the road, dude.
You drive south, heading to the Lower East Side. Agathon seems lost in thought. Either that or he's a very careful driver. Either way, several minutes pass in silence. So where are we going?
Williamsburg. There's a place there that our missing colleague frequented.
So we're going to the Lower East Side. I guess we're going to the Williamsburg Bridge.
I guess.
How can we keep going back to Brooklyn? Why is there so much stuff in Brooklyn in this?
Brooklyn's pretty badass. You don't want to hang out in Manhattan all day, all night.
He seems to be thinking the right words before he decides to address you again.
Let me ask you something. Why me? There's likely a couple hundred of us kindred in New York, yet you seek me out specifically. Why?
For one, Sophie spoke highly of you. She gave me a short list of people to meet. You were on it.
I see.
Once more he grows silent. You're unsure whether to continue prying as your driver seems to disappear into his thoughts. You drive into Williamsburg and stop by a fancy-looking building.
We're here. There's a restaurant on the top floor. You wanted to help, so here's your chance. I need you to get us inside the VIP lobby.
Oh, he wanted to work with me because I look like VIP.
Oh, yay.
You recognize the place. It's where you were embraced a mere few nights back. Why are you laughing?
Just the sudden change of fervor and inflection from take to take.
This is serious business.
Place where you were embraced a mere few nights back.
It's very dramatic for me. It's like the place where you were raped, the place where you were murdered. Like, it's a serious place.
Okay, just imagine you look at it with such, like, more, I don't know, fear, I suppose, or just trepidation.
You recognize the place.
All right, you know what? No, I'm not playing this game with you.
A few nights back.
Take over, next take.
You recognize the place. It's where you were embraced a few nights back.
This is me leaving, bye. Okay, no, please continue. I'm just
trying.
Okay, no.
If you keep laughing on every take I do.
I never laugh.
Yeah, you never laugh.
Oh, that's just true. I'm deadpan quiet. That's me, Mr. Quiet. Mr. Serious, that's me. I always know when to keep my big trap shut.
Can I say the line now?
Yes, of course you may. I'm doing nothing to stop you. Please continue.
I'm trying. Let me breathe.
Okay.
You recognize the place. It's where you were embraced a mere few nights back. Funny how this restaurant is apparently a vampire magnet.
Once we're in, I need about half an hour of focus and some space. It will be up to you to keep attention away from the room. Can you do it?
He doesn't wait for an answer and points to the front door.
Go ahead. I'm right behind you.
The two of you take the elevator up to the restaurant. The doors open and you see that there are only a few guests left, sitting at their tables. An important-looking staff member approaches you.
Good evening. I'm very sorry, but the restaurant is closing for the night. I can make a reservation for you next week if you wish.
Ooh, I want to dominate him. Oh, but we insist. You will let us enter the VIP lobby and stay there for as long as we like.
But of course, please, come in.
Oh, look, I'm getting thirsty. I think what I remember is that the thirstier I get, the less my powers work.
Oh.
Can I eat this guy?
Possibly. I mean, he'd probably be missed.
You walk in, trying to look casual, and make your way toward the VIP lobby. You step inside and close the door behind you. This is a familiar sight. The same place where you had your last meal as a mortal. Strange. You should feel something, but the lavishly decorated room looks almost plain to you. Your companion looks at you with something akin to admiration, or at least that's how you choose to interpret the slight change in his usual somber facade.
Not bad. Not bad at all.
He inspects the room. It's unusually cold, and Agathon soon discovers why. Looking behind the curtain, a window hangs open. The handle and lock look like they've been dissolved, as if with acid.
God damn it, Juno.
Who's Juno?
How about I tell you some other time?
I'm gonna punch your face. He takes a frantic look around the room.
This changes things. Keep an eye on the door. I'll need some time, half an hour at the very least. No one disturbs me, understand?
He hastily pushes a couch and some potted plants out of the way, moves a bar stool, and takes out a curved knife. Cutting into his own arm, he lets some of his blood drip onto the wooden floor. It's pretty fucked up, the way his flesh oozes the deep red, thick vitae. In life, you'd have found it stomach-churning, but right now, you feel weirdly turned on by the sight. What follows is more disturbing yet. With one hand, he sheaths the knife and seals the wound. With the other, he smears the blood around him while muttering some weird chant. It sounds vaguely Latin, but you're pretty sure it isn't. It's all more than a little disconcerting, but he seems to know what he's doing. A few moments later, the circle starts glowing faintly as thin wisps of smoke surround Agathon. He sits down in the middle, legs crossed, eyes closed. Minutes pass. Agathon's face twitches from time to time, and his head turns every now and then, as if he was looking around or listening in on a conversation. The smoke grows thicker, forming a veil around the mage. You expected something more flashy, but it's still a sight to behold. You wonder what the point of it is, but refrain from asking. It's probably best to let Agathon do his thing. For close to 30 minutes, you're left to your own devices. Suddenly, the door swings open and the manager storms in, ready to raise hell. The initial haze must have worn off quicker than usual. You try to calm the man down, but he'll have none of it. He keeps shouting and threatens to call security. That's when Agathon finally gets up off the floor. He shakes his head and casually walks over to the sofa, picking up something from between the cracks in the upholstery.
We're done here. Let's go. Who the hell do you think you are? Get out of my restaurant this instant.
Not not wanting to make the situation any worse, you walk out sheepishly. The manager follows you all the way to the elevator, shouting and cursing. Agathon doesn't seem particularly fazed by any of this. The restaurant staff throw you some curious glances as you walk toward the elevator, but wisely decide not to bother you. The ride down feels tense. You half expect to see a police car waiting outside. Agathon only seems to relax once you're back in his car. He starts the engine and takes a ride at the Continental Army Plaza, back onto the bridge toward Manhattan. You're just about to say something, but Agathon beats you to it.
That went better than expected, all things considered.
Might have been a trick of the light, but you're pretty sure you just saw a smile.
I'm used to working alone, but what I'm dealing with right now, it might require some more assistance, and you seem capable enough.
So I'm guessing you found what you came for?
Sort of. Enough to continue the search at any rate.
That seems to deplete his social battery for the night.
Know that feeling.
You drive the rest of the way in silence. It doesn't take you long to reach the Warlock's hideout. Agathon waves at you absent-mindedly, once again lost in his thoughts. Hopelessly so. One of these nights you should probably take him up on his offer. Who knows, if you gain his trust, maybe you can actually break through his stoic facade and meet the man underneath. Well...
Oh, beauty underneath.
That mission didn't have as much to it as the
it
other.
was the introductory mission.
But remember the introductory mission to Hope was that epic.
Yeah,
thing
that was kind of cool.
And then the one with the Nosferatu guy was like solve a murder, and then
Yeah, this one's just like, stick me into the VIP room, let me sit on the floor for half an hour.
and do some blood magic. But apparently, if we had kept going with the mission, we would have cracked his facade. And I do love dark, brooding, mysterious men, so now I'm a bit disappointed that we didn't go after him.
Well, you always had me.
We'll just have to play the game again and do the other two coteries that we didn't do this time.
Must we? No, yes, of course we shall.
If we
In
want to
preparation
play,
for the next game.
Yeah, Shadows of New York properly, we'll have to, right? Right, so we'll
Finally get to hang out with the fat guy.
rest. You wake up. This is not your haven.
This is not my beautiful wife.
It's a cramped space. You try to move your arms and find they are tied to your body. You can barely bend your legs. When you try to stretch your neck, you hit a cold ceiling. You can't quite believe it, but this is a coffin, or something close enough to it. It vibrates slightly, but you can't hear any sounds coming from outside. It's entirely dark. You kick the front of the container. The only reaction is a dull metallic sound. You try using your fists, but there's just not enough room to get a good punch in. Seems pretty hopeless. Some more tries. Nothing. This is bad. Suddenly, the containers move slightly. Moment of silence. An indistinct male voice shouting. A muffled shot. Silence again. The lid comes off. What the? What park is this? I'm trying to see if I recognize it.
Seems pretty generic.
It's got a bunch of garbage spilled.
That's New York. Well, I'll be damned. The shifty fucker delivered the goods.
Tell me I didn't just cut the driver up for nothing.
We gotta scram, and fast. Follow us.
Seeing their faces is surprising, even more so in these circumstances. However, you realize the immediate danger and follow your companions out of the car and down the street in North Bronx. Oh, I've never been to North Bronx, that's why I don't recognize it. Oh look, there's one walking down.
Yeah, I saw that. That's cute. He's
The
dead
van
now.
has crashed into another car. A familiar face, that of Kaiser's ghoul Jackie, stumbles out of the wrecked sedan and slinks away into the darkness before you can call after him. Kaiser kidnapped me?
Oh, yeah.
Huh. The three of you jog away toward the line of trees and take shelter under some branches just as you hear a chopper approaching. Its searchlight illuminates the wrecked van and moves toward you.
Lay low.
D'Angelo does his disappearing trick and vanishes from sight. You looked at Tamika and almost do a double take when you see her submerged up to her neck in the soil. She then disappears entirely underground.
What's your cool trick? How come you don't get anything like that?
What is that? Like, you can just, like, sink into the soil? That's weird.
Okay.
You're left alone with just seconds to make your move before the spotlight finds you. I'm gonna go under a bush. Seeing no better option, you find the nearest bush and dive right under it. It's probably not the best or smartest thing to do, but you have to trust your gut. The illumination passes only inches away from you, but it's just a pattern of light on the ground. The trees block a good portion of it. It doesn't dwell on you. It doesn't seem like they spotted you or any of your companions. The helicopter flies on, its searchlight frantically moving through the vicinity as your companions once again appear in your proximity.
Nice job, kid. They seem to be moving on. Come on, before these SI fucks change their mind.
So wait, did the SI kidnap me?
I think, yeah, it sounds like Jackie and whoever his boss is are kind of in league with the SI.
So,
Or are they delivering me to the SI?
the Kramer, Fraser, Kaiser.
Yeah.
Kaiser sold me out to the SI?
I don't know why he would.
Yeah, I thought we were buddies. Care to tell me what's going on?
Wait here, both of you. Tamika, fill them in. I'll go scout ahead.
The SI nabbed you 2 days ago. They raided your haven, staked you while you slept, and took off with you. We only learned this last night. From Kaiser of all kindred. Oh no, Kaiser was helping me.
But it was his lackey who was driving the car.
Maybe he was driving the car that saved me.
Oh, perhaps,
and then he just kind of like,
yeah.
my work here is done, and he ran off.
I see.
Don't know. I don't know the dude. From what I heard, he's no good Samaritan, though.
Hey, the limo's here. Come on, time to blow this joint.
Kaiser's familiar car stops nearby. And the black door opens. Your allies usher you inside and join you. Being inside this mobile fortress never felt like a relief. Until now.
Hey, fledgling. Miss me?
Actually, yeah, I kinda did.
No, that's so sweet. I hate to break it to you, but I didn't take a sudden liking to you. I'm here on business. On brand. You know a thing or two about that, wouldn't you, detective? You're here now only because I told your buddies that you were in neck deep in shit. That van you're in, one-way ticket to Hurtville, Pennsylvania. I broke you out as a favor, now you owe me, big.
How the hell did you know the SI broke into my haven and took me away?
Is that a piss-poor attempt at an insult, fledgling?
He's like, I know all. I am the eyes.
It sounds like he's the one who set the whole thing up and then he like saved me, quote unquote, to like own me.
I've kept eyes on you ever since that little job you did for me and Lolita. You know, in case I needed you for something else. I had to know your comings and goings. I have a good idea of why the SI hit you, Gwen. Not that there are tons of good reasons for it. It may have been one of these, for instance.
The screens in Kaiser's car flicker, and each of them now shows a short looped clip. It's you, getting into a fight. Feeding, using one of your powers.
He's blackmailing you.
You haven't exactly cut the low profile, fledgling. I get it, you're new to this, you didn't know better, yada yada yada. The fact is, the SI has tons of this stuff. Security camera footage, YouTube videos posted by onlookers, social media posts from victims, you name it. Like I said though, I don't think any one of those did you in. Slip-ups happen.
Why was I such a sloppy vampire? Like, I thought I was doing okay.
Yeah, that's why this all sounds really suspicious.
Not to you though, right? I always wondered how it is that you can drive a pompously luxurious limo around NYC and not get caught. What's your secret? Body doubles? Decoy cars?
Kaiser smiles, going for that anthropomorphic piranha look you saw a few times before.
You do know what killed the cat, don't you, Mr. Finch?
D'Angelo freezes and scratches his face, looking fiercely at the other Nosferatu. You notice that his hands are shaking.
Well, do you? Stop shedding on the upholstery and answer. Or should I use your given name too? Yeah, I know why the cat croaked. You would, wouldn't you?
You've never seen D'Angelo serve anyone a death stare quite like the one he's shooting Kaiser now.
As much as I enjoy tempering your overinflated ego, we're nearing our destination, so I think I'll move on. The reason I need you walking and talking, Gwen, is a test of a hypothesis of mine. For that, I need you to finish what you're tasked to do. So, first things first. Here.
He hands you a phone. The number has already been dialed. You hear the tone. Somebody picks up.
Who is this?
It's me, Sophie.
Gwen, are you okay?
They're fine and dandy.
Kaiser! What are you doing on this line?
You scamp. What do you think? It's my phone your protege is using, so keep it snappy. Operating a secure network ain't cheap. Come on, Gwen. Spit it out.
No, don't give Kaiser the credit. Just, yeah.
D'Angelo and Tamika saved me from the Second Inquisition, Sophie. I only got out because of them. The companions look at one another knowingly.
That's what I feared.
Oops, Sophie didn't say
Listen, the plan. We need to do it tonight. But if the Inquisition is involved and you broke out, they'll be looking for you. So, we can't meet in public. I have a place in mind, but
Kaiser, are you still listening?
Would I tell you if I wasn't?
Gwen, call this number from where you visited before last we spoke. I'll come pick you up. She hangs up.
And that's that. Gotta tell you, kid, this entire conversation has my curiosity, all right.
Yes. I feel like I missed a part where you were involved in some conspiracy.
Them, us, D'Angelo here, and every other kindred in this goddamn city, and everywhere else as far as I know. We'll talk more after our mutual acquaintance continues with their night. If my intel is worth a damn, your next stop, Gwen, is right about here.
The car comes to a stop and the door opens. Outside, you see the street leading to Solids and Stripes, Torque's Pool Pub.
Well, you need me to kick you out?
Oh, yeah. Stay out for a minute. What about D'Angelo and Tamika?
What about them? They're staying right where they are, and we're gonna have a little chat, and after we're done, I'm sure they'll find a way to get back to their havens just fine. The clock is ticking. I think I know what Sophie wants to do tonight, and if I'm right, tonight's the last chance you got. If you want to say bye to your buddies before you go, that's fine with me, but that schedule of yours is pretty hectic, so you better do it now and scram.
You thank both of your companions for their assistance. Without them, you wouldn't be here now. Kaiser makes the gagging gesture and urges you to step out of the car. You turn around and make your way to the bar. The door closes behind you and Kaiser's limo starts moving again. You hope your companions won't have to pay too high a price for helping you. I thought he wanted to be helped? Like, he organized my help? Like, why would... I don't... Did they have to, like, purchase him to help me? The Solids and Stripes is pretty much abandoned tonight, with only the bartender and one bleary-eyed local watching an old Bogart movie on the bar's screen. You ask to use the phone and call Sophie first.
Yes?
I'm here. Are you on your way?
Yes. We'll be there in about 15 minutes. Notify
Notify Torque if he's not there. We need to talk soon and move quickly. She hangs up. You tell the bartender to notify Torque, just like the Anarch leader mentioned you should. The man makes a short call. You only hear somebody picking up, but no words exchanged.
Owner's on his way right now. Can I get you anything while you're waiting?
Actually, do you serve the, special stuff? Bartender raises an eyebrow.
The special reserve, you mean? Sorry, I can only serve that to a narrow selection of the owner's friends. No, don't do this. Don't do that to Torque's person.
No, but I'm bleeding. Like, I need to eat, right?
I know, but don't use your powers on him. It's gonna backfire.
Well, I am one of his friends.
Nah, it's a list. You're not on the list. I know because it hasn't changed for a while now. Sorry. Everyone else at the bar is up for grabs, though. So, sure you don't want something.
I should have used my powers. Why did you talk me out of it?
I know, but you don't want to do that with Torque.
You shake your head. Need to feed. Torque comes in some 10 minutes later without Mia. He tips his hat to you, puts a hand on the bleary-eyed patron's shoulder, and says something to him under his breath. They both laugh.
Marty, how's the night going? Quiet, sir. Just how you like it, huh? Well, I believe you wanted me here for a reason. Let's hear it.
You're about to tell him what brought you here when the doors to the bar open and Sophie walks in all splendor and charisma. The patron's eyes are now glued to her, and so are the bartenders. Torque isn't happy with the sight.
Well, this isn't what we agreed upon, Gwen. Care to explain? I would say we had to improvise, but... So it doesn't seem like you're... I don't know.
Things got complicated. We had to improvise. Pleasure to make your acquaintance. I believe Gwen already told you why I'm here.
Not in any detail, and the circumstances of our meeting was supposed to be different, so... Miss Langley, tell me why I shouldn't ask you to leave and kick out your protege while I'm at it.
You will like what I have to say.
Yeah, I've heard that line 100 times, but 99 of those ended with someone getting hurt, and that's not something I'm in the mood for tonight.
We are wasting time. There is a unique opportunity we should take advantage of, and we only have an hour or so to discuss it before it will be time to act. My driver is waiting outside.
Driver. Wait a goddamn minute. First of all, I'm not going anywhere without Mia. That was the deal. Second, it's Gwen who was supposed to do the driving, not your servant.
Both serve me. So really, it's of little difference. The circumstances changed and we had to adapt. Don't be stubborn. Foolishness does not suit you. I have a secure spot in mind where we can talk.
I'll stop you right there.
Torque is seething, but he's keeping a lid on his anger. His voice barely changes.
My conditions were clear. The way I hear it, you want to break each one of them. I see no reason at all to agree to any of this. I believe I will be staying put tonight. You have places to be, yes?
Torque, you're throwing away the only chance you have at challenging Callahan. Don't be a fool. The lid comes off.
Call me a fool one more time, woman, and that's not the only thing I'm going to be throwing. I would say Torque listen to Sophie. Just definitely don't know that acting like children one.
Yeah, Sophie. I'm on Sophie's side, so. Torque, listen to Sophie. You can't afford to miss this opportunity. Callahan has to be stopped.
I didn't ask for your opinion, fledgling.
If death stares could actually kill, you'd be decapitated by his. Sophie smiles. Isn't that just typical? You're all for democracy and rule of the many, but only as long as they vote your way.
Dissenting voices are silenced. You're no better than Callahan.
Fuck this.
Torque takes a bottle off the counter and breaks it over the bar. With a jagged piece of glass in hand, he points it at Sophie.
That escalated. You two have precisely until the count of 5 to get out of here before I cut you up in little pieces. 1.
You wouldn't dare.
Try me. 2.
Shots break the front windows and a flashbang goes off in the room, changing the bar into a space of white light and ringing noise. You feel somebody tugging at your back and are thrown behind the bar. More shots ring out. Bottles break. The TV shatters into pieces. The wooden bar splinters.
Oh, that was imported.
Your sight comes back, but you think you've gone deaf because suddenly the room is silent. You see Torque behind you and Marty, the bartender, bleeding out on the floor. You look over the bar. Sophie is standing there, her dress partially tattered, a visible hole in her leg. She is like the heart of a supernova, entrancing, unavoidable, beautiful, and terrifying. In front of her are 8 operatives, looking like a private military force, just standing there, paralyzed by Sophie's magnificence. Torque, you still there?
Yeah.
Would you kindly show your guests some hospitality?
Sure thing.
The Anarch is gone in the blink of an eye, and he reappears next to one of the soldiers. The armor-clad operative's head disappears in a puff of blood and bone. The same thing happens to the second. The third, you hear the radios go off the other soldier's shoulders, a panicked voice pleading them to wake up. The fourth head pops. The fifth. They finally realize what's happening, but it's too late. The sixth man is beheaded by what you now see is Torque's bare-fisted punch. Torque stops by the seventh man, rips something off his neck, and bites down. Sophie walks over to the last man and has him kneel in front of her before biting as well. Oh, can I get in on this? I want to bite one.
You gotta lap it off the floor.
On your right, a man in full body armor emerges from the back door, raising his assault rifle. Oh, this one's for me.
Yay. What the fuck? Yeah.
It's not smart, but it's what your instincts tell you to do. You jump in front of the soldier just as he pulls the trigger. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
Bullets sink into your body, ripping and tearing your flesh. Each projectile a micro bomb exploding inside you. Combat knife crashes through the soldier's visor into his skull. You turn around. Torque is grinning. He mouths something under his breath. So he tossed the knife across the room.
I guess so. Langley?
Sophie wipes her mouth of blood and looks at him.
That meeting's still an item?
Yeah. Why was that funny? I could have said yes.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Sure is. Sure.
You
Yep.
like
sure.
my lip liner.
Yeah. How many syllables can you put into yes?
We're up to 18. You want to keep going? Go for the high score. I'll take it.
Splendid. Torque walks behind the bar and checks on the bartender. Is anybody going to check on me?
Yeah, I know.
I see the Anarch open up his own wrist and feed blood to the wounded man.
Drink up, Marty. It'll make you feel better. Now get the hell out of here and wait for Mia. She's coming and she'll know what to do.
Torque.
Yeah, coming. Take the back door. Gwen, come on.
You slink back into the alley behind the bar, leaving 10 bodies and one grievously wounded ghoul behind. Nobody stops you from circling around the block and finding your way to Sophie's car. So I guess the fortitude kept me from getting hurt?
I think so. I guess. I mean, mortal bullets mean nothing to you.
No, but they were like SI bullets. They were exploding in me like tiny bombs.
Oh, right.
So why am I not, I would like a status update on my physical condition, please?
Well, I mean, you were able to make it to the car just fine.
I guess so. Gregory drives away casually, as if this was just another late-night drive, and not the crowning of desperate, complicated evening. Sophie brings you all to a luxurious apartment in Manhattan's Upper West Side. What's this apartment?
Swank.
It's not that luxurious.
Well, it's better than our apartment was.
I've seen luxuriouser.
Uh-huh.
What is this pod chair?
Oh, they're
What decade are we in?
It was like that 70s revival thing that happened like back in, I don't know, the early aughts.
The way she explains it, the vampire who owned it left the city a few years ago and gave away spare keys to a few trusted compatriots.
Yeah, apparently in 2005.
It's been used sporadically since.
Fancy.
You like it? It's always felt too modern for my tastes. But what's important is that it's secure.
As long as nobody followed our car here, or the fledgling, trouble follows this one wherever they go.
Even if that's the case, we have very little time to conduct our business here anyway. And we'll be leaving soon, I hope. So, let's begin.
I would keep my mouth shut.
You look at Sophie excited. Finally, you will learn what it is that you've been working toward for more than a week, and what it is that Kaiser wanted you to participate in.
I have it on good authority that Boss Callahan is bloodbound to Prince Bernard.
Torque sucks in air loudly. That's blowing air out.
No, I was in. What, do you want to feel it? Put your hand there.
Is an in sound.
Well, I know, but I'm doing it
Is an
more
out sound.
cool like Torque is.
Oh, Torque's cooler than I
Yes,
am.
Yes,
Right.
it's the hat.
All right.
That's an accusation and a half there, Langley. Got proof?
No, but we're just a boat ride away from getting it.
What is that supposed to mean?
When the address that I procured from Kaiser was the meeting spot for Bernard's and the Baron's regular sharing of blood, messily and with unseemly enthusiasm if the rumors are true.
I wonder if sharing of blood is like sex in this universe like it is in Anne Rice universe.
I forgot who Baron Callahan was.
He's the other Anarch, like
Was he like the old
he's
guy?
Boss
at the-
Callahan. He's the guy that kicked my ass.
I think
so
I remember.
Boss
yeah.
Callahan is the head of the Anarchs, but Torque wants to be head of the Anarchs. Yeah.
Okay. Wait, Kaiser knew about this?
Kaiser knows everything. Don't underestimate Kaiser. What are you, a fool?
Is there anything that insufferable clump of dead skin doesn't know in the city? He knows things, but only shares them if you pay. Neither the prince nor Callahan can touch him. He's too useful.
Yeah, I'd do that one.
Kaiser said something about having plans for me, that he wanted me to make this meeting happen. That can't be good, right?
That's an interesting point. I think Kaiser might be as interested in shaking up the status quo as we are. A chaotic landscape makes for a great market for him, unlike a static one.
I don't like playing into that creep's hands, but at least now I know that I'm doing it. The devil you know and all that. What was that address he gave you?
They meet regularly on Ellis Island. In fact, their next scheduled meeting starts in just around half an hour.
Wait, I'm on the Upper West Side and I'm expected to get to Ellis Island in half an hour? Are we gonna fly?
You're vampires. You can do that, right?
No!
Form of bats, wisp of fog, and all that.
No! There is no, like, to get to Ellis Island, you need to take a boat?
Well, I mean, the one then, I guess.
Yeah, you gotta take the subway all the way down or drive all the way down and then take a boat. Do we have a helicopter? Like,
Oh, that's true. Maybe you do. Hot damn. I'm guessing you want to crash that meeting. Why?
So you can see the proof for yourself. So that I can make sure too. And so that I have an extra pair of eyes for Bernard to consider when I present her my ultimatum. The prince must abandon her seat and leave New York City. She can go wherever she pleases, but if she stays, the entire court will know, and the next prince might not look favorably upon her past.
dealing with anarchs, especially so closely, is a punishable offense in the Camarilla, as I'm sure you've heard. Meanwhile, we're dealing with an anarch closely as we speak. This is a very risky political game we're playing. At this point, I might as well just join the anarchs.
Mm-hmm. So I did.
Torque strokes his beard and looks intently at Sophie.
What exactly are you trying to accomplish here? Say you remove Pinard, and I even remove Callahan. Then what?
Torque, did you ever wonder why Callahan is keeping you in check? Because I wondered why the prince condemns anarchs during her visits to Elysium, but doesn't allow the Ivory Tower to challenge you. She, or they, have engineered this status quo, not for the good of their sex, but for private gain. They keep us all in line because it lets them hold on to power that much longer.
And your goal is what? Make this Cold War turn hot? Not a great plan. You cammies will get your butts kicked out of NYC in no time.
If you anarchs manage to organize, which I doubt you will. At any rate, it's a risk I am willing to take. I don't stand alone in this. This entire operation has been years in the making. Torque, I am offering you a chance to square things with Callahan and level the playing field. If we get rid of these two, we can start on equal footing at the next stage of this danse macabre. Do I factor into this plan at all? Yes. We will be taking you with us to Ellis Island, both as another set of eyes to witness the Prince and Baron in the act, and as a bit of added security. I don't think Helene or Callahan would dare to lay a finger on me, but they will not find me unprepared.
You know, after all those years we spent in Callahan's shadow and taking part in all the kindred dick-measuring contests, I should expect to ruse some ploy to kill me in some out-of-the-way place.
Should, but you don't.
Yeah.
That's our inherent paranoia talking. My gut tells me it's time to get this show started.
I forget which clan he is.
He's... Oh, right. I forgot to say he's anarch, but it's like, no, I guess they still have clans, huh?
Yeah, he's... What is he? Not Nosferatu, not Malkavian, not Tremere. So it's got to be Ventru, Toreador, or Bruja. I don't think he's Bruja.
He seems kind of Toreador-ish. He's very stylishly dressed.
Yeah, so he's Toreador or Ventru.
I do hope you have a boat nearby, Langley.
Sophie smiles mischievously. Of course I do. It's waiting for us by the pier. I guess if we take a motorboat all the way down, we can get there in half an hour.
Okay.
If it's got like a really powerful motor. All right.
Lead the way then. Moonlight's burning.
The three of you leave the apartment and walk toward the pier. Nobody seems to be following you. You get on a small patrol boat and double time it through the Hudson's cold, dark waters. Out of all the places in NYC where the Prince and Baron could meet, and it's Ellis Island, a landmark with a dark past, a museum on one hand, a dilapidated piece of history on the other. You leave the boat and make your way to the southern part of the island, paying no heed to the renovated tourist attractions on the northern side. You expected some resistance, a night guard, a helicopter flying overhead, or maybe an NYPD patrol boat. Nothing. The island seems completely deserted. It's clear this sets Sophie on edge. She's moving as quietly and subtly as ever, but you can see that she's eager to reach the particular house her intel pointed out. Torque is following suit, grimly determined, flashing his piercing gaze all over, still clearly uncertain that this isn't some kind of con. Finally, you see it. Light coming from a window in one of the buildings at the edge of the island. The three of you slowly creep closer to the building and take a look inside the window. There it is. Callahan, kneeling in front of the prince, sucking on Penard's wrist, both fully clothed, a small blessing. I guess it is often a sexy thing. Torque makes his move, and before Sophie can stop him, he busts through the building's doors. It all happens very quickly. Torque grabs Callahan by the shoulders and throws him through the still-open door. Callahan hits the ground hard. Torque appears on top of him and starts punching.
You fucker, you piece of shit.
Stop! The prince's voice takes hold for just long enough to make Torque relent, which the Baron uses to its fullest. He shoves Torque off of himself and tries to bite down. Prince, call off your lip, dog!
Langley, what is the meaning of this?
The two anarchs break apart, both wounded, but neither is quite done yet. They look at one another with pure hatred.
Cure the bitch, Helene, but leave the fledgling to me. Right after I deal with this shit stain, I'm gonna...
A shrill, unpleasant laugh fills the air. You know who it belongs to.
Oh, is that your stalker? Oh, no. Who's that?
What? Who is that?
I don't know.
So entertaining, truly. It feels almost a shame to break up this spectacle, but alas.
Tomas?
Tomas?
Who the fuck is this joker? Oh, yes, I don't think we met. Though I did hear a lot about you, Mr. Torque. My name is Thomas Arturo, and I...
Callahan uses this moment of uncertainty to strike. He's still too slow for Torque, who throws the boss onto the lawn where the two exchange blows once again.
Helene, if you'd be so kind as to ask your friend not to hurt our guest.
Too much.
Callahan, don't kill him!
Like he could.
This time, Callahan comes out on top and grabs Torque in an iron hold. The companion struggles, but he can't quite break away.
I will not be denied, Helene, not this time.
You will do as I command.
And she will do as I command her, Douglas, old boy.
Am I supposed to know who this is?
I guess it's the prince's boss, but I don't think we've met him before.
Why am I was he from one of the side quests we didn't do?
I don't know. Oh, well, play along, I guess.
I mean, if the game's like, you know that voice, the game should be like, you know that voice from that time when you did...
The thing.
Yeah, like, help me, game, help me, please. I've been playing this for like 12 hours now. I can't remember what I did on hour 2.
Who's Tommy?
I don't know. What?
Like I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted, I feel like I need to break up this little spectacle. It's been going on for much too long. You think you're so smart, Langley. You and your clique figured out that there was something fishy going on all on your own, but you were just working with a piece of the puzzle. Wasn't she, Gwen?
Sophie looks to you, shocked and disappointed. I don't know what
I'm talking about? Of course you don't, of course. How could you? Only I knew, and your sire. They're the ones who agreed to embrace you after some negotiation.
But who the heck are you? I'm so lost right now. I do not remember this guy at all.
It must be some sort of like Deus Ex thing at the end. And it's like, aha, it was me, the gas station attendant all along.
If I had done the Tremere plot all the way through, or the Malkavian plot all the way through, or did the reporter plot, would I have known who this guy was?
Why are you asking me?
No, I'm asking our listeners.
Oh, okay. Well, you're looking at me while you ask our listeners.
Yeah.
I represent your listeners.
Okay.
I got it.
I'm so lost.
So all we have to know is that this is the prince's boss, evidently.
I'm not quite sure that's true either.
Well, she said, like, Callahan will do what I said, and then it's like, yes, and she will do what I tell her, you know. So he's the kingpin.
You hear a scream and a curse. It's Callahan, whose arm has been nearly ripped off his body. Torque breaks out of the Baron's grasp, but doesn't continue the attack. Instead, he's at the edge of the water in the blink of an eye and disappears into the Hudson. The only trace left of him is his fedora.
What was the point of all that? Another actor going off script at the very end? No matter. Let him bring us some amusement now that the production is almost wrapped up.
He'll reach his allies. He'll tell everyone of this.
Elaine, even if we naively assume his nights aren't numbered now that he's in the SI's sights, the show must go on one way or another. Won't hurt to encourage leaks and speculation.
Sophie looks at you.
How could you, Gwen?
What am I?
I saved you.
What are we accused of?
I don't know. I really don't. Arturo suddenly appears next to her and slaps her in the face.
Oh. Langley. What happened to your self-esteem? You can't really think a simple neonate has outplayed you? Or maybe this oblivious act is your way of groveling for mercy?
Tomas, what?
You thought that being an expert chess player would always be enough. You never realized that people at the top simply flip the chessboard and punch you in the face when we don't like how the game is going.
He motions to the remaining kindred.
But the thing is, you weren't even adept at playing the game you knew. Gwen, some other pawn placed on the board by my associate. You thought that they were your piece since you took them in, but who gave you that idea?
You return to the night where you were judged by Prince Pinard. The woman in red, Sophie. Somebody speaking to her. A man in glasses. The man standing before you now.
It's in quotes, but...
So this is what he said to her the night Sophie took me under her wing.
This is cruel. We all know what's going to happen. If only someone would speak up for the poor child, it could be a useful tool for the Camarilla.
Terror creeps onto Sophie's face.
Of course, those are not the words you heard, were they? No, you were already grasping for some opportunity to further your scheme. I put the bait out, and you took it hook, line, and sinker. After that, it was only a matter of time before I started using Gwen as your errand girl. No one is quite as easy to track and monitor as a naive fledgling who's just learning the ropes.
What is it that you want, Tomas?
So we were a pawn in this because we were just inept enough to be followed and traced?
Sophie thought she was using us for her ends, but really he was using me for her ends.
It's sort of. It's like here's this person who just cannot function in vampire society. That's your new protege till we can track her because she doesn't know how to hide.
If he was established earlier, like if I knew who the heck this guy was...
What do I want? Oh boy, the answer is so simple but so hard to put into words. Unstable stability? Cutting-edge tales of thrills and intrigue that push it to the limit and then return to you the tried and tested status quo, gently, infallibly. A system so full of distractingly moving parts which simulate conflict so convincingly that the users never felt a need to direct their energy towards upsetting the system. Achieving the eternal through the disposal, building a city that's like a ship of Theseus, constantly changing its parts, just always maintaining the same purpose, serving the same goal at all times. A large-scale infrastructure that has something like an exhaust system for the spirit, something that disperses the toxicity around instead of concentrating it at a place.
None of what you're saying makes the slightest bit of sense.
Arturo is momentarily stopped in his tracks. He stares into the sky for a few seconds before a sad grin appears on his face.
Spoken like someone who's never really had what it takes to make it in the big leagues.
With a theatrical snap of his fingers, he gives his last sentence a sense of finality. Something's changed in the air. You could swear you saw a shadow move behind Sophie.
Goodbye, Sophie.
A person appears behind Sophie. You can't believe your eyes. It's Adelaide Davies, holding garden shears in her hands. She's our stalker, right?
Yeah.
Adelaide, stop!
Oh, is that the one we tried to put on the train?
No, she was our stalker.
Oh, I thought she was like crazy wild-eyed, like had lipstick all over the place and everything.
Yeah, she was a crazy stalker.
But why is it now she look like a classy redhead now?
No, that's Sophie.
Oh, that's Sophie.
Yeah, that's Sophie.
Got it. Okay.
You hear the shears snip. Sophie's red hair conceals her face as her head falls, separated from her shoulders. Silence. Arturo's unpleasant laughter erupts right next to you. Gotta do his laugh.
Oh, Gwen, your career is moving at a breakneck pace, moving up and up and up. And we congratulate you on your promotion.
What do you want from me?
The rush. I was about to get to that. Helene, feel free to leave us and take the Baron with you.
Thomas, I don't think you should.
Shush. You're just being jealous, Adelaide. Escort the prince and the dear old Douglas, please.
Sure thing, darling.
You're left alone next to Sophie's body. You try not to look, but it's hard to ignore her lithe frame decomposing in front of your eyes.
Congratulations. You've won this little game. You've set out on a suicide mission and successfully brought down the power-hungry wannabe tyrant, even if it probably wasn't the way you imagined it. Now you're free to enjoy paradise again, life after death, immortality, eternal youth. What they don't tell you, of course, is living in paradise is inherently sinful when not everyone can partake. But you have time to learn how to live with sin, don't you?
He takes a melancholic look at the city skyline surrounding him, the Statue of Liberty and the lights of Manhattan shimmering in the distance.
You know, New York taught me to believe in fate. My life began right here. And it began with utter despair. My first instinct was to drown myself in books and keep reading and reading until literature gave me the piece of wisdom I needed to go on. Personally, I find reading a silly hobby in retrospect. I always had this minuscule hope that the next sentence I read would finally bring me salvation. It never did. It only gave me fuel for this elevated, righteous, intellectual suffering. But the more I read, the easier it was for me to boil every paragraph down to a power relationship. The characters' influence over each other, the writer trying to impress the reader, etc. The strings everyone pulls started to look like the strands that weave into the fabric of fate. Once I saw its beauty, I got teary-eyed. My architect instincts kicked into overdrive. I didn't have to submit to fate. All I had to do was cooperate with it and wait for my time to shine. Give it my input wherever I needed it. Until it trusted me to do more. Wait for it.
Thomas steps over what's left of Soapy, wiping his glasses with the elegant cloth from his pocket. How am I supposed to know who this guy is? Why is this game treating it like I've met this guy before? Like, if I have, I've completely forgotten.
I don't understand anything that's going on. I don't know what the plan was. I don't know why we're here. Why
Sophie was trying to bring down the prince, but the Thomas brought her down instead.
Okay.
So now Sophie's not going to overthrow the regime and the status quo will be maintained.
Okay, yeah. So she was trying to rock the boat, but...
Yeah, and
just turned the boat over.
Sophie was power hungry, and now she failed.
I like the analogy of, like, if you're playing chess, but we have the power just to flip the chessboard over.
Yeah. But, like, who is this guy? Was I supposed to meet him? I remember back when we were at Elysium the first time, we overheard a really obnoxious person, and I was like, I don't want to talk to that guy, and I went to talk to someone else instead.
Oh.
Was I supposed to talk to the obnoxious person, and that's when I was supposed to meet him?
Maybe. Or maybe it's because you said you recognized his laugh, and maybe he laughed at the party. I don't know.
So, like, because I avoided meeting him in all those scenes, I now have no idea who he is, so this scene is making zero sense.
I like how the game is pretending this is our fault.
Yeah, I'm like, game... You did not establish this character whatsoever. If I was really supposed to meet him, if he was this important to Endgame, you should have forced me to meet him instead of giving me the choice.
He would have popped
to
up
meet him.
again somewhere.
It's just, I
mean, imagine if we didn't do all the Adelaide
frustrated.
messages. Yeah.
Very frustrated.
And it did. Fate let me look after this city. With my architect's tools, I started quietly shaping the streets and corridors while Kaiser and his ilk shaped the information flow. And among many tools this process gave me, one of them was a way to reliably come up with useful agents like you. The methods I used were crude at times, but the root was there. All you had to do was follow it.
Well, what use did I actually serve? Just getting Sophie killed?
I don't know. It seems like the only reason you were hired is because you were new and inept.
Just to make Sophie's plan fail?
Yeah, just so they could,
if you just want to cut off her head, why don't you just do that anytime?
Right?
You didn't, trick her into committing a crime, so therefore you could do it in the eyes of the law. No, you just did it. Like, there's no machinations here. Why didn't you just chop off her head any old time you wanted? Like, there's...
I had a feeling the story wasn't going to end messily.
I'm very
And
frustrated.
where's our coterie? That's like the only time.
The whole point of making a coterie, and we're not even like here as a trio.
It just depends like what two people show up to rescue at the end. I think. Hopefully, it plays out more later. Some people write rule book passages. The others plan city arteries. In the end, the effect is the same. Someone always follows.
City arteries, like our map.
Why is this guy? I want this guy
He
to shut
puts on
up.
the glasses and gives you a long, hard look.
I'm not done yet. You know, I've grown fond of you.
How?
All right.
How? Literally how?
We've been so close these last few months. You did so well. Even when that idiot Callahan tipped the Inquisition off, you still got out. I like that kind of resourcefulness. I could use that kind of resourcefulness.
He uncovers his wrist.
So, take my blood. Just enough so we can start off on the right foot. It's a sign of good faith, a sign that you're ready to play in the big leagues. Ready to behold the sights I've prepared for you. What do you say, Gwen? Oh.
I don't even get to choose if I take his blood or not. I don't get to be like, yes, I will be the lacquer. No, I throw it in your face. What? This was not a bad game.
Well, I mean, if you
But
want
I'm
to
very
blame anybody,
frustrated with
here's
the
the
ending.
4 people you need to talk to. The writers.
The Polish writers. I'm very frustrated with the way this game ended, friends. Very
We
frustrated.
spent all this time building a coterie, and that coterie meant absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like, if I hadn't built the coterie, would no one have rescued me from the SI? Would I
I
have
wonder
died?
if like you purposely try to fail it. Like if you just kind of do everybody's mission, but only do it like halfway.
Yeah, like,
What about the guy at the, the priest and the guy outside the
those were
cathedral?
just like side random pointless missions, like the reporter mission we didn't do.
I guess they're just sort of contextual.
Yeah, just world building
Flavor.
stuff. Oh. I feel bad because overall it was a nice game, but I'm very frustrated with the ending. And I don't know if that's my fault for the way I played the game, if I did something
No.
wrong.
I mean, a game like this that has branching paths, if it's going to a certain end, then you have to have a way for certain
Yeah, the
key events
context
to happen.
the context was not built up. Like, this should have been a cut scene that was forced upon me to establish who this guy was and why is he this prince's boss? Why was like this I play it multiple times to get the context, maybe?
I don't want to
Like,
play this multiple times.
should we? Okay, here's a
It was a
question.
very pretty game.
It was very pretty. So here's a question. Do we just move on to Shadows of New York, or should we replay through this on our own time? We're not going to make videos about it. Do we really have to? Because I'm feeling very defeated now.
I think we should just read the Wikipedia synopsis, and we'll just move on to the next one.
I'm
So
so
at least we can-
frustrated. Tell me, friends, was this my fault, or is the game as sloppy as it seems to be to me? Like, please give me that context, because I want to give the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Did I do something wrong?
It's like, no. I'm.
Does Sophie always die? That's my other question. Does she always die, or is there a way to save her?
No, I'm pretty sure she's gonna die. They wouldn't have written that entire 80-page soliloquy for that guy.
Is she lived?
It just feels like at the end it's like very Deus Ex. The whole story changes, and then they just have like a guy spouting nonsense
It's
at you
like-
for half an hour.
Everything you were trying to do has been pointless. Nothing will ever change the status quo. Mwahaha.
Yeah, it's like
We
the
keep people
choices we
fighting
made.
so that way we can keep our rule. And I'm just like.
So this ending was going to
vampires, why
happen
are
no
you
matter
being
what we
such
did. So everything at the
assholes?
beginning, the first 80% of the game is just faffing around.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
One more.
So that was Coteries of New York.
It sure was.
We have spent 12 months
great.
playing this, exactly 1 year playing this.
Great coterie, huh?
Yeah, we spent a year playing with this.
It's like at the very end, we see them for like 5 minutes. It's like, okay. well,
We made 12 videos for you, all about an hour each. So it took us over 12 hours, so maybe like 13, 14 hours to play this game.
Well, maybe they've learned some new tricks with Shadows of New York. Maybe they've learned from their missteps.
Have they? Friends
Well, at least
who've
now
played
you'll
it?
be-
You tell me. You tell me, have they learned? Will I like Shadows of New York better? That is what we're playing next. Unless you all very overwhelmingly advise me against it and tell me us a different game to play next.
Well, I'm excited because now that means that you will be entering this game with the same level of cynicism that I entered this game with.
No one will ever have that level of cynicism that you
You're
have.
right, I
Just
do- I
because I
do
was
set the bar
disappointed
pretty
in the
high.
ending doesn't mean I have a cynicism against World of Darkness, Vampire the Masquerade,
No,
lore
no,
in
no.
general.
It's a good world, just a poorly executed story.
You know, anyone can write a story in this world. Not legally, but anyone can.
Maybe not
And
legally.
sometimes it's better than
do
others.
they hate fanfickers?
No, it's just fanfic's not legal, you know.
It's not.
No.
I mean, so if you're not publishing it, it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter.
For real, like fanfic.org is like just illegal or whatever.
Not illegal like you're breaking the law, but like you can't.
Well, that's the definition of illegal, my sweet.
You couldn't make a game out of it. You can do
Right.
anything to make money off of it.
Right, that's what I'm saying. As long as you
Yeah.
don't publish it, it's
Yeah.
fine. Okay.
So this game is legal.
Unless you're, 50 Shades of Grey.
Officially sanctioned in canon. Yeah, you could write all the fanfic you want. It would not be considered canon by the franchise.
Okay. So yeah, this is
the
definitely
very
non-canon.
definition of fanfic.
Yeah.
No, this is considered canon.
Really? This
Because-
is sanctioned by White Wolf?
Yes, do you think this is a fanfic game?
I
No, like you can't license a property and release a game and not have it be considered canon.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I just assumed this was like a side story done by like Polish fans.
No. They would get arrested if they did that. That would be illegal.
Okay.
This is
I just
legal.
thought like, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
I mean, it's licensed. It's not like,
See,
a
this
different
is
company
why,
hired you.
when they made the original game, they left it up to you guys to make the story because they suck at it.
Well, that's what role-playing games are. You have a player who's a DM who's good at making stories, or in this, it's not DM.
This is
it's
like playing a game of the Masquerade just with a really
Yeah.
crappy DM that's railroading you into the ending that they want.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what this felt like. Except DM is not the term that they use.
What do they use?
GM, I think.
Game Master?
Yeah. something
Prince?
Like that. Yeah.
Regent?
Anyway, that was Vampire the Masquerade, Coteries, New York. It was great up until now. This last episode is the first time I've been genuinely upset with this game.
It's like there was this one game called Indigo Prophecy, or also Fahrenheit, that was like really, really good for like the first 80%, and then everything just goes buck wild, and the story just disintegrates, and it's really upsetting. Like people start flying around Dragon Ball Z style. It's like a Mr. Game. Yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about.
Anyway,
Or like the end of Mass Effect 3.
what's new in Vampire news this week?
Well, weren't you going to save that for a different
They have,
show?
yeah, I am, but I can touch on it briefly here. I'm going to make a whole video about this because we've got so much vampire news. So they have cast the 2 lead actors in the new Anne Rice Interview with the Vampire TV series. The actor for Lestat's named Sam Reed. You've never heard of him.
Never heard of it.
He's an Australian actor.
Australian
He's
actor.
mostly done like British productions and stuff. The actor for Louis is the guy from Game of Thrones who played Grey Worm, the Unsullied.
Oh, yeah. I like him.
Yeah, he's really good.
Every once in a while, I'll think about the ending of Game of Thrones. Just get madder and madder and madder.
Yeah, but like if you were gonna cast anyone from Game of Thrones to play Louis, he's the least awful choice you could make, I think.
That's true.
Yeah, he's like one of the good shining things about Game of Thrones that actually like.
He is very brooding.
Yes, exactly. He's very good at being
He's very
mopey.
moody. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's good at being Louis. So I'm excited about that. We knew they wanted to cast a black actor.
Good.
And of all the random actors that you've heard of, I think they made a good choice. Yeah, I'm excited. Every time I talk about this production, people always ask me the same exact questions of like, what? What does that mean? How are they going to change the backstory? How's that going to work? So I'm going to make a whole damn video about this. If you're watching this on YouTube, you've probably already seen that video I've made because these are going to be released out of order. But if you're watching this on Patreon, I have not made the video yet, so it's going to be coming.
Wait, did you get that backwards?
No,
On YouTube? The YouTube people are seeing it sooner than Patreon is?
no.
I'm confused.
YouTube people are seeing this video after Patreon.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. There was this logistical confusion.
That's okay. After playing this game, I don't blame you.
I'm a bit flustered.
Yeah, so Anne Rice.
Hey, I just
interviewed
noticed
the
that's a
vampire.
peach, not an apple.
Are you sure?
It's
It's got a stem.
Yeah, but it's got like that, butt shaped. It's peach colored, and the inside is yellow.
Of course. Make a woman eat a peach like a lesbian.
But an apple makes more sense contextually because it's all like, the Lilith thing, Adam and Eve, original sin, all
And
that.
it takes place in the Big Apple.
Right. But instead it's a peach.
Yeah, because peaches are like the
Then
horny fruit.
No, she's not eating a banana.
Oh, God, no. At least.
At least.
At least.
Well, rip Sophie, I guess.
Yeah, sorry, Sophie. You were the cool one. I will talk all my sentences in air quotes for the next 10 minutes in your honor.
Your honor.
In air quotes, in your honor.
We're gonna do the whole new segment video in Sophie's voice. You should do that. Just put on dye your hair red, wear Sophie clothes, dangle a cigarette
And
daintily
like
from
a
your
giant
hand.
furry
Yeah.
and some fan earrings.
Yeah, and then I'll just have a creepy stalker come up and cut off your head with garden shears.
Yeah, there we go.
Because we all saw that coming.
Anyway,
I'm bitter.
yeah, what if we didn't do the stalker plot? Would we have known who that was?
Mm.
Oh, gosh. All right. Well, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, it's challenging making a game where you can sort of make those choices, but if you have a very specific ending in mind, where those choices don't matter, or you can miss various story points, that's not good design.
Yeah, maybe you should have written a better ending.
Ooh, burn!
Just saying.
And man, the smackdown on all of Poland right there.
Maybe Shadows of New York will be better.
Here's hoping. I pray for redemption.
I like that our little icon girl for Shadows of New York looks like Death from Neil Gaiman's Sandman series.
I don't know that one. Sorry.
Fake geek girl.
The only death I know. No, I'm thinking about the Discworld death.
That's a good death.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
That's a very good death, yeah.
And the one from Conker's Bad Fur Day. He was great. Fucking cats.
All right, friends. Until next time, new game, new plans. If you have thoughts or feelings about what I should play next other than what we have discussed, now's your chance to change our opinion.
Yeah, maybe like an interlude.
And help us make choices, yeah. Well,
Weren't
you for joining us.
Expansion packs of this thing I saw?
I don't know.
I could have sworn I saw some on Steam, which is I don't know. Maybe I might be out of my mind.
Trying to say goodnight to our friends.
My bad. Sorry. Go ahead.
Thank you for joining us. You've been with us for a year playing this game. You've stuck it out. You've stuck with us. We have had a great time bringing this game to you.
Don't lie to your audience.
Don't you see how much fun Paul is having? Listen to that joyful laugh. But until next time, good night.
Whatever. This is me leaving. That was the door slamming. Acting. Bye.